on Friday for track, and you missed yesterday for testing, and you have that, I think it's questions 7 to 13. So you guys can turn it in now if you have it done. Yeah, it was 2 pages. If you weren't here for track, and you missed yesterday for lesson, you guys can go ahead and turn it in now, and I'll give you the next part after I'm done with this. Your name should be on a missed testing yesterday. Your name should be on the makeup sheet list.
They'll be calling
They
you.
should be calling you out. Okay, so I have to finish up this last little bit. This is the end of the chapter. This is my last lecture for you guys about this chapter. Yes, so you can take notes, Mike.
Did we do any notes on Friday? Oh my god, my notebook.
Like yesterday? Okay, so I'm going to start talking about conservation. So people began to realize they were really destroying the forests, and the lumber industry was having a really negative effect on the forests. So they decided they're going to start to need to conserve the forests. I can't really see it. Move up. Can't see it. So what happened is Americans start to pressure the federal government to make some policies and make changes that are going to have a more positive impact on the forests rather than continually logging everything out of it. The really big difference here, and you guys should know the big difference here, is between preservation and conservation. That's kind of the same idea, but it's 2 totally different meanings. So, preservation is to preserve from destruction. So that's like why we have national parks right now. So we're saving those landmarks for future, so future generations can look at them and use it the way we used it. So you're preserving that area. The best example of preservation is national parks. And then conservation is reducing the use to make it last longer. That's creation of like national forests. So you still have those forests, and you reduce the amount of usage that you have, and so you don't cut nearly as much down in those national forests. So we don't lose a lot of our forest lands. So then 1891, we have the Forest Reserve Act, where 15 forest reserves are created and held in trust by the federal government, and they're to be managed for long-term conservation. Basically, so they just don't log out all the trees there. So again, make sure you know the difference, preservation and conservation. Also comes with the birth of the U.S. Forest Service. So the U.S. Forest Service was created in 1905 by President Teddy Roosevelt. So the 15 forest reserves that were created in that 1891 Act are going to be incorporated into the Forest Service. And this is what helps create the 8 state forests or national forests that Montana has. If you guys are driving those national forests are part of a 5.1 million acre land trust that's held by the federal government. It's held by the federal government to make sure that people aren't cutting down too quickly and that they're actually conserving that land. But the state can also like sell some of that land or lease some of the land, and then that money comes back into the state, and the state can pick where they want to use it. So some of it can actually go back to the schools. Yeah.
Can farmers that have cattle get a tag to put their cattle in forest to graze on all the grass? You know?
That I am actually not sure.
What was your question?
Can't ranchers that have cattle, can't they get a permit to put their cattle?
Put them on forest land? Yes, you can. It's like a BLM a lot. When the ranch that I grew up on, we had BLM land we used, but we had an opportunity to go on Forest Service land, and it's a lot like it. You have to apply for a permit, and the scientists go up and figure out how much grass is out there. But yeah, you can put your cattle on Forest Service land too. Public land. That means we own it.
Right, so if the state sells it, they can actually use that money and put it back towards the state for certain things like schools. So. Okay, so fire is actually really important to forests. So remember when I was talking about how white settlers came in and told the Indians to stop burning? Doing those controlled burns and that they should just leave the forests the way they are. So that actually left the forest really unhealthy. So fire is kind of nature's way of renewing the forest. It's a natural process. It's actually good for the forest. It clears out a lot of underbrush, dead trees. It helps new trees to grow too. So fires are actually really important to the forest cycle. So when they stopped burning for so long, the forest just got really overgrown, really unhealthy. But as we know, fires can also be dangerous, right? I'm sure you guys have all seen what fires can do. Fires can burn down houses. They can be very dangerous. This big fire happened, fire of 1910. And before 1910, the government didn't really do a lot in order to control fires. They didn't really have a lot of management in place for fires. But what happened in 1910 is this fire ripped across 3 million acres in 2 days. Because again, that forest is so unhealthy, it's going to burn a lot easier. There's a lot more dead trees and a lot more underbrush. That's just going to burn faster. So it burns across this really, really quickly. It's going to kill 86 people in 2 days. That's kind of long. For 2 days, for just a fire. It's because people see it as it's preventable. Well, this could have been prevented, so that's kind of why it's a tragedy almost, because people think that this could have been prevented. They actually had to send in a railroad into the towns to rescue the town people because they knew at that point their town was probably going to burn down. So they had to send in a railroad to get the people out and go back out again. Yeah. I think it was just after a while, either someone left something around and it just ripped through it really, really fast. Everything burned out. Yeah. Once a little spark was, it just lit up everything. So what happens with that fire is basically the fire is going to shock people into action. People are going to start pressuring the federal government to do things and have more programs and better equipment for firefighters, more training for firefighters as well. Because they're going to see it as something that definitely could have been prevented, so they're going to try to get more programs in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. So the Forest Service is going to start programs to develop new firefighting equipment. Again, better training for firefighters. Different things for them to do so they're a little bit better equipped when they go in there. They're also going to build trails and roads into the forest so firefighters have easier access if there is a burn like that again, or if there's a bigger fire. They have for an access route to get in there and get out easily. So firefighting basically just creates a new industry. There's more jobs. More people are wanting to become firefighters. They're going to train more and more people, which leaves more jobs open. However, there are new dangers. So you guys remember, can someone tell me what burnover was from the study guide? Yeah.
It's like where they catches like burns over the firemen, people and equipment.
Right. So that becomes a really big danger when firefighting becomes a bigger industry. There's a lot more burnovers and fire. Again, fire is really dangerous. So when they start making more people go on fires, more people are going to get taken over by burnovers, especially at first. When the fire still, or like the forests are still kind of unhealthy. So again, fires for the forests were not super healthy. They lead to a lot of really bad fires in the 20th century. It's because it's going to take a while to get the forests back to where they need to be. So you have like the Man Gulch fire in 1949, where 13 firefighters are going to die because of a burnover. Okay, this is just a really quick timeline of what the lumber industry did in the 20th century. You guys remember what span of year the 20th century is?
1800s.
20th century.
20th century.
1900s, yeah. There's always one ahead. So we're in the 21st century technically now. So it's always one ahead. So this is just a really quick timeline. So 1900s, lumber is going to follow the same up and down as construction. So obviously if more people are trying to move to a place, much more houses. So if more houses means more lumber. But if there's not as many people moving in, it's going to be kind of a lull or a down cycle. You have the 1920s where there was a really big drought, which is going to bring economic collapse. So that's going to affect the lumber industry. 1930s is the Great Depression, where every single industry was impacted and affected. So it's not going to be the most successful time for the lumber industry either. And then 1940s, you have the start of World War II. So with World War II becomes like mass production and more jobs. So the lumber industry goes back up. And then, yeah, WW2 is just my abbreviation for World War II. I'm curious what that was. This is the most important part. So we have to be careful and we have to preserve the forests and we have to conserve them as well. Preserve them for future generations so they can have the same amount of resources that we have today. We don't want cutting down and have people who are going to be around a little bit later than us. We want them to experience the same things that we do. So we have to preserve it. We have to conserve these forests. Okay, raise your hand if you need the last 2 pages of the study guide. You'll have the rest of the time to work on it today. Oh, wait. Yeah. This is just the first part of it. Keep your hands up. Hands up. Yeah, keep your hands up just because there's another page coming around.